today's session, we're looking at digital document management through the Adobe Acrobat solutions. And just a brief little agenda on what we had for today is we're going to understand Acrobat and the difference between Acrobat Standard, Acrobat Professional, and the new Acrobat Premium. We're going to look at what it can do for you and what is the new Adobe AI Assistant. I'm going to show you exactly how that works and how you can use it in your documents. We're also going to be talking a little bit around the security in there. We're then going to change gear and we're going to talk about Adobe Acrobat Sign, because a lot of people get confused because they named very similar. They think that the product feature is the same both within the Acrobat environment and the Adobe Acrobat Sign environment, but they're slightly different. And we're going to summarize this with a slide that shows you the key differences between the two, and then you can decide which version is correct for you, and we'll have some time for Q&A in the end. So the slide deck will be made available to you through the Multithread team, so we can just reach out there. Let me just move these little notifications, they keep on popping up. So the the Adobe Document Cloud is made up with a number of pillars. And the first pillar is the desktop app and mobile applications. So these are the applications like your Acrobat. This is like your Adobe Scan, which is a great free app that you can use to scan multiple page documents when you're on the go, and they will then be sent through to whichever version of Acrobat that you are using. These also include the browser-based version of Acrobat, and also if you have the free reader on your mobile device, as soon as you have the paid-for version of Acrobat Standard or Professional or the Premium version, you get more functionality. So then it's not just a reader on your phone, you can also combine files and export them to the Microsoft products as well. The next pillar is the e-signature pillar within the document cloud. And although Acrobat can do some basic signatures that are in there, Adobe Acrobat Sign is the heavy lifter. That's the one for your large organizations where you can have automated workflows, and it even integrates with the likes of Power Automate and those kind of things. And then new to the document cloud is Adobe's PDF services. We're not going to be talking too much about this today, but if this does pique your interest, it's an API that you can automate your workflows, everything from creating PDFs to doing accessibility and so much more. If this does pique out your interest, please reach out to the Multithread team and they will gladly set up a session with you. And with each of these products, there is some kind of integration that is available, and we'll be going through this as we go through the event. Right, so let's start with Acrobat, right? This is just a key matrix. I'm not going to read through every single item on here, but I just put it together to make it easy for yourself to be able to see. And the key difference between Adobe Acrobat Standard and Adobe Acrobat Professional or Premium are the last four items. So for example, if you've got Creative Cloud in your environment, you would need to make your PDFs from within the Creative Cloud applications. You can't just open it in Acrobat in the standard version. But if you're working with scanned PDF documents and you need to apply OCR, which is optical character recognition, on your documents, you need to have the professional or the premium version. As well as if you've got documents that you want to compare with each other, whether it is textual changes or visual changes within the document, these need to be done with the professional version. And then then if you have any kind of interactive PDF documents where you want audio or video or other buttons or whatever to be able to work inside there so that you've got a digital document that is interactive, that is also something that is done with the premium version. If you are using the basic, and I'm going to reiterate that, the basic signing options within Adobe Acrobat Standard and Professional, the Professional and Premium version has some functionality that you don't get in Standard. For example, the ability to bulk send, the ability to have a web form, and the ability to do your custom branding for that. But please, when I get to Adobe Sign, you will see that there is a big difference between what is available in Acrobat. Think of the Acrobat version as primary school or a level, whereas the Adobe Acrobat Sign is like high school and university level, depending on what you want to use it for. Right, so we're going to be having a couple of polls inside here. So Nora, do you have the poll question up, or would you like me just to read it out and they can just answer in the chat? Okay. So Nora's not responding. So what I'd like you to do, please, is to answer the question in the chat pod just by either putting an A, B. Oh, wait, there we go. It's coming up. Right, so here is the poll question for you. All right, which Adobe Acrobat solution allows you to turn scanned documents into edited PDFs with font that match the original? Is it Adobe Acrobat Standard, Adobe Acrobat Professional and Premium, or all versions? If you could just do the poll, that would be great. Right, so while your poll is up there, I'm just going to share my screen again. Right, hopefully you can see my screen. Right, so let's have a look at some of the key features that are available. So when we, Nora, I see you've stopped my screen share again. Can you just end the poll so that I can just, thank you very much. Let me just share my screen again. There we go. All right, so let's have a look at what key features Adobe Acrobat has for you. So in Adobe Acrobat, you can create PDF documents. You can combine various files together, so whether they from Microsoft applications with existing PDF documents. You can organize your pages, and part of organizing pages also allows you to split your PDF documents. Right? We can edit PDF documents, whether we need to change an image or change the text or delete some text. We can do that. We can add watermarks and page numbering as well. You can compress a document. So whenever you have those PDF documents that are really, really large, we have the compress functionality within the Acrobat environment. We also allow you to be able to export not just an entire document, but a portion of a document back to your Microsoft applications. So whether it be Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, you can do that together with other formats that are available. You can work with scanned documents and either make them searchable so that you can leave there in the document intact and just put an invisible layer of text on top of that. Or what you can actually go and do there is you can actually make it editable text and then convert it through your export functionality back to Word or PowerPoint or Excel. Right? You can create interactive forms. These forms could just be normal PDF forms, or they could be the form fields that you require for the signing portion of Adobe. Right? as I mentioned earlier, you've got some really basic signing functionality. Fill and sign allows you just to place your signature, but if you've got a document where the form fields are not available, you can go in there and use like a typewriter tool that you could fill out the form. And then you've got the request for e-signatures, which is like the baby version of Adobe Acrobat Sign. You can send a document for comment and review. This could either be through the document cloud or via your SharePoint or network drive. You can do it with either of those. You can compare files. You can, if you've got the premium or the add-on to Acrobat, you've got these new AI assistant features, and we'll be going through that in a couple of moments. You can protect PDF documents. You can redact, that's blacking out information that is I can't think of the word now, confidential. You can apply PDF standards, and one of these standards is the archive standard. So maybe you've got some PDF documents that you need to be able to have available in 10 or 20 years' time. So you can make sure that they meet this international standard for future-proofing your PDF documents. And then finally, accessibility. If you have any dealings with any countries in Europe, especially in the UK, they've actually put procedures in place that all documents need to have accessibility for those that are either visually or hearing impaired. And Acrobat can do all of that for you. So we spoke a little bit about the integrations, and this integration is just with Acrobat itself. So Acrobat can integrate into OneDrive, into SharePoint. It has got some integrations into Teams, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. It can directly integrate with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. And when we're looking at from a Teams perspective, right, the functionality that is available there is the ability to convert your files to PDF, the ability to have some kind of edit functionality, be able to protect or compress your documents. But from Acrobat itself, it does not allow you to send documents for e-signature through Adobe Teams unless you've got the full version of Adobe Acrobat Sign, not just standard or professional. Right, this is really easy. When you log into your Adobe Acrobat account, you will notice on the left-hand side, you will have some options here where you can go and add a particular account. And you can see in this screen grab, I've got some of my Google Drives and some of my OneDrive. And it's really, really easy. You just click on the link, and if it's a OneDrive, you put in your email address. If it is a SharePoint site, you just put in the SharePoint site address, and you will then be connected. I will show you this when we work with the demo a little bit later. Right, so here is the next poll question, right? Acrobat Standard or Professional enables users to view, create, edit, and manage PDF files while also offering collaboration and e-signatures. If you can just answer either a yes or a no, either in the chat or in the poll question if Nora is going to put that up. Thank you, Nora. So if you could just take a few moments just to answer that particular question. So while you're answering this question, I will give you the answer to the previous question. And the previous question was Adobe Acrobat Professional or Premium was giving you the ability to be able to convert documents to the fonts in the original document. Right. Okay, well, there we go. So Nora, if you could let me change back to my screener, that would be awesome. Thank you. Right. So the correct answer for this one is yes. Right, so now I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration for you. Right, so I'm going to do it, I'm going to be switching between Windows and Mac, but we are going to be able to work with them either way. So first of all, I spoke a little bit about the integration with the tool, with the other products. So in here, if I come to my home screen, you can see here, I've already got my OneDrive connected. So you can see I can access my OneDrive directly from within Acrobat. And all I need to do is click on this Add File Storage little link here. And if it was a OneDrive, I can go and put in my email address. If it is a SharePoint, I can go and add the relevant SharePoint site and I can then access them directly from within here. Right? If I am working from a SharePoint environment, of course, it will allow me to check in and check out my documents. So I'm in Windows. I have got Microsoft Word. And I need to make a PDF document from this. So there are a couple of little things. As soon as you have the full version of Standard Professional or Premium installed, you will notice that you get a new Acrobat ribbon. Now, 90% of the time when you are creating a document, you want to add bookmarks so people can jump to the various sections within your documents. And you also want to make sure that your file size is at the smallest possible file size so that you can email that PDF off. So you can do this directly from within your Acrobat environment. So whether it's Word, whether it's Excel, excuse me, whether it's PowerPoint or Outlook, you have this ability to be able to do this. And you can come through here to Preferences. And in the preferences, you've got a couple of little things here. So you can say create bookmarks. You can add your links, so any hyperlinks that you've got in there. And here is the little trick to come here to the top where it says conversion settings and to choose the smallest possible file size. If you want to do it for archive purposes, of course, you can use PDF-A at the top. Those are your archive standards. Right, and if you are doing your bookmarks, you can then go and choose which of your styles you want to be able to use as bookmarks. Right, so if I come in here, you can also share for review and you can also import comments that people made from a PDF document back into Word. Now, I just want to show you one more thing before we head over to Acrobat is depending on what style you've used, can you see I've got title here, and if I click in this text, I've got something called headings. You do need to use Microsoft styles in order to make the bookmarks. Right, I'm going to come across, I'm going to quickly say create my PDF. I'm just going to say yes. It's busy generating the PDF for me. There we go. It has opened it up in Acrobat and I can go and see here if I come to my menu, I can go here to document properties and I can see that my PDF is nice and small. It's only about 100 K. That's inside of there. Right. I can do a number of things. So under your tools, you've got all the tools that you need that you can use. I'm just going to show you a couple of little things. So for example, if I have got something in this document that I need to be able to export out, I can do little things like, let me just minimize this. I don't need Word anymore. All right. I can take my particular page. Let's say, for example, I want, let's do this new document. Right? And maybe I want this element. I can drag and I can drop it onto my desktop. Let's give it a second. There we go. And you can see it's going to be an extracted file. So if I need to extract 3 or 4 pages, I can go and do that, no problem. And I can then save it. And then just that document, that page will be extracted out of my document. If I have a document, yes, I can come here to my tools and I can export the entire document. But what happens if I don't want my entire document? I just want a portion of my document to be exported. So let's say, for example, I just want this. So I can select my document, the section I want. I can right click and I can come in here and say export just my selection. And I can say, you know what, let's choose the desktop for this. And I want to go and make this an Excel document. And let's go and call this one a table. And I'm going to go and save it on my desktop. So you don't have to do complete documents. You can just do portions of the document if I want to. It's just going to launch in Excel. Right, now you can see here, this is just the top section, but I can go and minimize this. Each one of these are 100% editable, and I can go and change my text as I need to inside of here. If it is not coming out the way that you want it to, it could be that you can always check while you are selecting your text. So if I've got my table, if I was selecting my table and part of these little blue elements were somewhere else in my document, that is a good hint that it's not going to work for me. Right, and you can also quickly add things. Let me just say don't save here. To a document by just dragging and dropping that information into your document. And you can then go and add the pages that you like. So there is so much. I could spend 2 days just teaching you how to use Acrobat to its fullest extent. Right. The one I do want to show you is I'm going to open up a document. It is a JPEG, so I can pretend that this is a scanned document or a picture that I've taken from my phone, and I can see that it is scanned, and I can then do some options. So I can come here under my tools and I can deal with my scan and OCR options. And I can enhance my scan. So first of all, maybe I want to get rid of this terribly gray background. And I can do that by going into my options, and I can come here into some of my filters and I can do some background removal. I can straighten my skew scanned document if I need to. So let's just do that. And let's enhance my document. Right, it's already looking a little bit better. I can go into my edit functionality and I can go and remove this horrible background that's at the back here. Sorry, let's just give it a moment. Right, there we go. Let's close this. And I can delete that really bad portions of my document that I don't want. Let's do things like that. I could maybe go and say the main benefits. So you can see it's keeping the font and everything that was available to me there. And let's say, for example, I need to be able to take this to Microsoft Word. All right, it was a picture. I've cleaned it up nicely so that Word can recognize it. And now I can go and say here, export to Microsoft Word. I can convert it to a document. Let's just go and make it a .doc file. And there we go. I might have to do a couple of little changes here and there because maybe it didn't recognize some of the text, but that is still quicker than me having to go and re-type up this entire document. Right, so let me just go back into Acrobat. Right, something else that we often need to do is to be able to sign a document. So Adobe Acrobat has 3 different signing options that are available. Let's go in here. So we can use something called fill and sign. That is ideal when only you need to sign a document, right? You've got something here called request e-signatures. Sorry, let's just get that off here, right? So this limits you to the functionality that you can do in that, but it is a baby version of what I'm going to show you in Adobe Sign. And of course, you've got the third one, which is the digital certificates. And I've been told by Multithread that some of you still use this and have some questions about when your documents come back. All right, so let me open a document I've got here. Just let me go to my home screen a moment and let me open this document. Right, so if I need to fill in somewhere, I can use my fill in sign, right? Remember I said to you that has got some basic typewriter functionality. Let's just say Joe blogs, and I can go and make that a little bit bigger if I need to. I can also go and add a predetermined signature. Sorry, it's not showing you there, so let me show you in my other version. Let me just make a blank document. Just give me a second here. Sorry, you always have some kind of demo issues here. Let's do a blank document. Right, so if I go into fill and sign, you can see that you can have a signature that you can already have that is available to you there. So no problem, right? You can request e-signatures, but you are very limited in what you can do. So I will speak more about that in the other solution, right? The other method that you can use is to add a digital signature. So that is when you go and create your own. It's called digital certificates. Right, so here is a certificate, and I can digitally sign doing this, and I can create a signature for myself. So you normally create a new one for the first time that you're doing this, and majority of people will create what we call a self-signed certificate. That means that it's something that you are signing with. Right, so let's just do this again quickly. And so you can continue, and then you can give it different types of looks depending on how you want it to be, and then you can go and sign. Please note, if you lock the document, nobody can sign after you. Right, now one of the issues that people are receiving, if I just open my previously done one here. Right, so here I have signed a document. It is on my computer. I have got my signature here, you can see, and you can see here that it's telling me that my signature is valid. But as soon as I go off and I send this document on, let's say I go and send it on to Nora. On Nora's machine, when she opens up that particular document, she may get this little exclamation mark that is telling me, oh, there's a bit of an issue here. And that is just because Nora's machine doesn't recognize my signature. So to be able to correct that, what you can go and do is you click on the signature panel. All right, and you've got, I know it's a little bit small, but you can see here that there's something here called signature details. So when you click on that and you go to the certificate details, you can go and see, this was done by Carla. I know who Carla is, and I can then go to the trust section and I can add Carla to my trusted list. So that means that any other documents that I receive from her going forward, I can just tick all of these and I can go and say, okay, right? And I can go and say, okay. So let me close this document and let me go and reopen it. you will now see that they do recognize that person. So it doesn't mean that the document is something wrong. It just means that you couldn't recognize it on your machine. Right. If you do have questions, please start popping them into the chat or the Q&A. We will look at them and we will answer them at the end of the session. Right. Let's go back into here. So as you can see, Acrobat is about editing and creating PDFs and minimal signature functionality. All right, I did go into the Acrobat sign option. Sorry, let me just go to my next slide. So let's look at the new interesting Adobe's AI Assistant. So Adobe's AI Assistant is you can either get it as an add-on for Acrobat Standard or Professional, or it's included with the Acrobat Premium, which will be Acrobat Professional plus this AI Assistant. So what is it? Right, so it has two functionalities. The first one is it can take any document that you have open in Acrobat or documents that you choose, and it will create a generative summary of that document. So let's just think you've got this particular webinar and you've got the transcript. You open the transcript up in Acrobat and you can go and ask for what was the top 5 elements or what action items or whatever it is that you want to do. So it takes the key points and it will summarize it. This generative summary is not available in the mobile app, but the AI assistant specifically is. So what the AI assistant does is you can upload up to 10 documents of a substantial number of pages, and you can and it will look at the documents that you've uploaded and it will prompt you with questions that you could ask. So if you are uploading financial reports, it will prompt you with financial questions that you could ask that document. But it's not limited to that. You can go and ask whatever questions you want of that particular document. And what's great about it is it doesn't hallucinate. It's not like some of these other AIs that are out there. It actually cites in its response where it found the answers in those documents for you. Okay, and if you are using this on your mobile version of Acrobat, you can actually use the voice to prompt the chat. You don't have to go and type with your thumbs. Right. Okay, and the kind of use cases that you can use to prompt it. So you can ask it questions, you can ask it to analyze documents, it can brainstorm certain things, you can ask it to generate a list, generate PowerPoint slides, and it will give you the topics that you need. It can also, if you're doing let's say you're doing a business proposal to a customer, you can prompt it and say, okay, where have I forgotten some things that the customer might ask me? And then it will prompt you, and then you can go and write that back. So here are some of the use cases that it's being used for, and this is only scratching the surface. Executive summaries, action items that you need to take out of something. Look for researched quotes. You can highlight a portion of a contract and ask it some information about that. You can get bullets. It can create tables. It can identify the key players. You could have information and you could say, okay, how can I change the target audience? Because maybe that's something that you want to do. It can reveal its reasoning. What are some of the customers' pain points based on the document that you have uploaded, right? And then here are just some examples of some of the prompts that it can ask you. Like I mentioned the one, what pain points customers describing this solution need to be addressed? What organizers are mentioned in this document and what do they do? Did the researchers include any disclaimers in the report? Create a 200-word summary. Does this manual have any safety information? So you can see there's so many ways that you can ask these questions. Now, these are the set parts of the premium version. So, for example, you can chat with your digital document, right? You can even do scanned documents to obtain insights. You can create summaries, generate emails and blogs and presentations. You can perform some basic calculations. And then you can also, it integrates with Microsoft Teams to quickly get a summary and to identify action items. Right, so here is the next poll. What is one of the key benefits of the generative AI features in Acrobat and Acrobat Reader? So can you see here that if you by, let's say, for example, you don't need standard or professional, and you just, most of your team are just reader users, you can actually purchase an add-on for the reader that will give them this functionality. Right, so is it to improve document security, to enhance productivity, to increase storage, or to do better color management? Okay. Okay, let's just do, I want to just, while Nora's putting up the poll, if she's going to put it up, I'm just going to go into Acrobat. So we'll give you a few moments to answer the poll, and then I will show you how it's actually going to work. Oh. Right, Nora, when you're ready, if you can give me control back. Thank you. All right, so when you launch Acrobat, you will see that there are this new ribbon at the top here. This interacts with the AI assistant. If you haven't purchased a license of the AI assistant, or if you don't have Acrobat Premium, there is an option to try it 5 times. So there's a 5 times try that you can try it out on one of your documents if you want to. And your documents don't have to be in PDF. You can upload a Word document or an Excel document directly into the system, right? I'm just going to choose one of the recent documents that I've got here. Let's do this one here. All right, so here I've got a document, and you will see here that I've got a couple of options. So in my tools, if I've already got a document open, here's my AI assistant. Here is my little generative summary, and I could also use my AI assistant here at the top. So the first one I'm going to do is a generative summary, and it is going to look at this document, and it is going to ask you to get started. Just give it a moment. So this is a 19-page document that it's quickly looking at. Sorry, my Windows version is a little bit slower than normal. And while it's doing that, I'm just going to say to you that you don't just have to do this one particular document. You can go and add more documents when we do our AI assistant in a minute. So here you can go and see that it has actually created a short little summary for me on this document, and these little links here allow me to cite directly in my document what where it's pulling this information from. And if I go all the way to the bottom, I have this ability to copy this and paste it as an email, or I could even copy it into a Microsoft Word document, depending on what I need to do. Right, so let's do something else here. Let's go to the AI assistant, the big button at the top there, and you can see this is the part where I'm actually going to be able to chat with the document itself. And to make things interesting, I'm actually going to go and add another document. Right, so here at the top, I'm going to say add, and I'm going to go and add, which one have I got open there? Market research. Let's go and open the sustainability plan. And it can be any kind of documents. It could be the last 10 years annual reports. It could be something that you have created. It could be a product stuff. It could be maybe from your suppliers, you're getting new information and you need to put your own kind of content together, so you can have all of these documents, and then it will ask it across all of those particular documents. Now, as I look at this, it's telling me that there's one document added, and it's giving me some options here. Do I want to identify the top 3 takeaways? Do I want to give a 400 word write-up? So let's just say here, I just want the key takeaways. Right, I'm going to show you now. We can prompt with our own questions. Right, so it's going to give me those elements there, and depending on which document, can you see it's actually showing you which document it is actually pulling the information from. Let's see if any of these are from the other documents. No, it's only doing it from the one. So let's ask our own question. So what are the industry trends? Right? And I'm going to say here, output as a list. Just give it a moment. So here you can see it is now the industry trends, and it's busy putting them together, and it's showing me where it is actually pulling that information from. So these all seem to be from the main document. All right, and then I could do something else here, right? I'm just mindful of time. What are the 5 top producing countries of honey? Because my document is about honey. You could also ask it questions about a document. So there's a whole lot of things. What's nice about this is everything is taken from these documents, and nothing is shared back to any other learner large language models that are out there. So let me get back to my presentation on, there we go. Okay, so let's just look at the security here. All right, it only looks at the content that you tell it to. All right, it uses encrypted information. All right, so whether you are asking it questions or whether it's responding, so both in transit and in rest, it is encrypted. And the most important part here, it does not teach any other third-party models. So the information from here does not go out onto the internet. So it's not teaching ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of those kind of things. And it caches the information locally on your computer if you're using a desktop version. If you're in your mobile phone, it will sync it to your document cloud license, so even your colleagues won't have access to that, and it will clear those caches. You can set it to be whenever you want it to be, or it can be for the 12 hours. All right. It is not like Copilot. Remember, Copilot is going to look throughout your entire Microsoft environment, which is going to be your likes, like your emails and your Teams and everything. This only looks at the documents that you provided. Okay. And now, last but not least, let's look at Adobe Sign. All right. So Adobe Sign is a cloud-based legal e-signature solution that is part of the document cloud. It has a separate license, right? It can be used to automate digital signature workflows from forms approvals to certifying document delivery, and it is available on all platforms. So whether it's your mobile phone or whether it is your laptop, it is available, and it is also integrated directly into the Microsoft applications. All right, there are two versions of Adobe Acrobat Sign. There is the business version and there is the enterprise version. The main difference between the two of these are the types of roles that people can have. So in Acrobat, you've just got a signer and an approver. Here you've got things like signers, approvers, acceptors. You can delegate, you can have a witness, you've got notary functionality. In Acrobat, you can only do send in bulk of 50. Here you can do it up to 300. All right, you've got automated workflow designer so that it knows, every time we do a purchase request or we need CapEx approval, use this particular template. It's already got who it needs to go to and who must sign that particular document. It can integrate with any REST API system. So if you've got your own back-end system, bespoke system, as long as it supports an REST, you can integrate with it. All right. And let me quickly go out of that. Right, here are just some systems that it can integrate with. So your HR systems like Workday or SAP SuccessFactors, Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle, Salesforce. It integrates with the Microsoft Productivity, like 365 and all of those. All right, so I'm not going to, and if I look at this environment, so before we spoke about the Acrobat ones as well. But here you can see there's even more integration. So you can integrate things with Power Automate and Power Apps and Power BI and Microsoft Dynamics. There's just so much more that you can integrate with. Right. So in a quick to show you how it looks, this is Adobe Sign. It is purely browser based, or I can access it within my Teams environment, so I don't have to log into the system here. I can do things from a library, so your library will give me either templates that I've got or workflows that I have or any Power Automated workflows that I might have set up already. So it's just a matter of clicking on the one that you need and going forward. So let me just do a normal send for request. Here we go. Right, it has different types of templates, which is more than what the other Acrobat version has. So let me go and choose my document. I can choose from templates that are available. So let me use this confidentiality agreement. All right, I can have message templates that are available. So, and for either signers or approvers, you can decide. I'm just going to use the standard one. Okay, I can go and do settings here. So I've got reminders that I can go and set on. I can put passwords on documents afterwards. I can actually determine a deadline for something. So I can say, all right, this is going to have a deadline of tomorrow. Okay, I can go and add different roles so people don't just have to be a signer. And let's go and do one. right? And then I can go and add myself, or I can do a recipient group. So a recipient group here is I could have this as, let's say, multi-thread. All right. And inside there, I could then go and add Nora's email address and all the relevant people. And only one of the people from that particular team needs to be able to sign. So can you see it's got more functionality than what you have available within the Acrobat environment? And let me just add myself here as a person. All right. And now I'm going to send my fields. So this part of it is very similar to Acrobat. Let's just give this a minute. Right. You do have a couple, so let's just give the document an option to add. So I've got things like templates that I can go and use, and I can have form field templates that are available. Let's just do here. Can you see it already recognizes fields that I have put up. So if I have a document that I'm going to be using on a regular basis, and I know that these are the people that need to sign, I can circumvent the length of the document that I need to have by tagging certain documents that are available. I've also got things like I can add attachments if somebody needs to attach files. I can have a participation stamp. I've got access to drop down menus and get somebody to sign with a stamp instead of a signature. So it's got so much more functionality than what we had before. So I'm just going to send this out. Right. And of course, when I manage these documents, let's just do this. Of course, like Acrobat, you can do it send in order, send in a different order. But what Acrobat can't do, and I just need to make this a little bit smaller. So I've got a document that's out for signature right now. And let's say, for example, the person doesn't work for that company anymore. I can come in here and I can go and replace the recipient. Or let's say somebody's on leave, I could still get them to sign or an alternative signer. So can you see I've got more functionality than I could have had before. I can set up Power Automate notifications. This system will also allow me that when a document, I've lost my train of thought now. So let's say, for example, I'm using it in procurement and I need, let's say, for example, we'll use Edmund because I can see your name on here. Edmund needs to sign off 10 invoices. I don't want those coming back as one PDF. If I send it using Acrobat, I can send him 10, but when I get them back, it's going to be one PDF with all 10 invoices. In this particular system, I can set it up that those 10 documents still come back as independent files that I need. And let me just choose one here where it might be. Let's try this one. I don't know if it's going to have it, but here I can go and download the individual files. So if I had 10 invoices, I can get the 10 invoices back. I can also, if somebody has filled in a form and I've got it linked up via REST, whatever information they fill out can go back to my system. Okay, and then let's just end off. I've done the demo. Okay, so then I'll just leave this poll for now due to time constraints. Okay, so let's have a look at the differences between the two main products. All right, the primary purpose for Acrobat is to create, edit, and manage your documents. Yes, it does have signature capability, but it's really, really basic. All right, it complies with security, so you can do passwords and redactions. You can integrate it. There is some AI integration inside there. You've got some cloud storage with OneDrive, Google, and Dropbox and SharePoint. You've got the reader that becomes more than the reader if you have an Acrobat license. You've got user roles, and it's a per user licensing model. When we look at Adobe Acrobat Sign, all right, this is for digital document signing and workflow automation. So it is not going to be ideal like I've sent out a document for somebody to sign and now somebody's made a mistake and I need to be able to edit that document. I can't. It is locked down. So it's the signature process after any review and approval process has taken place. All right, it has advanced signature options. Everything comes with an audit trail and they are all legally binding. It meets with global e-signature laws around the world with its with its audit trails. It integrates into many more applications than what the Adobe Acrobat does, and it's can have automated workflows and approvals using Power Automate if you need to. All right, so I've left this document with the key differences between each one of them, and when you get the presentation, you can have a look at that. And what I've also done here is I have given you a comparison just on the e-signature options as related in Adobe Acrobat Standard. This is going to be Acrobat Professional and Premium because they have the same functionality. Then the business version of Adobe Sign and the Enterprise. The main difference between the two is, of course, the integration functionality and the ability to be able to have the workflow designer. Okay. Now, there is a lot that we covered during this particular session, and before I answer any questions, Multithread have partnered together with Magenta to be able to offer you, their customers, premier Adobe training, right? Magenta has 25 years experience in using the product, and Multithread together with you will tailor your training solution based on your particular staff needs and your requirements, and also offer you some flexible delivery options. So whether they virtual or whether it's split into non-full days or whatever. So whether you have any questions relating to the Acrobat, to Adobe AI Assistant, which is the tool, or Adobe Acrobat Sign, which is the signing solution, or training requirements, please reach out to Denise